Hey everyone, my name is Rachel, and when I'm recording this, it is already Sunday. But my Wi-Fi is so slow that it takes about 8 hours to upload a video, so do the math, and when this is uploaded, you can figure out exactly when I am recording this video. Anyways, today we're talking about classes, essentially. How my week went is usually what we talk about in these Sunday videos, but this time, since it was kind of the first week of the semester and everything, it's pretty much what I expected of the class versus what the class actually is, sort of deal. So if you like that, strap yourself in, because it's going to be fun, and if you don't like that, then thanks for the one view for like 2 seconds. I really appreciate it. Anyways, gonna start off by saying 20 units is it's a lot. It's a lot. I had a time this week on Tuesday where I went on my computer at like 3 after my last class on Tuesday, and I was like, okay, let's see what homework's due for tomorrow. And it was just a wall. And by the time I was done with that homework, I worked straight from 3 o'clock to like 1 in the morning. And that was when I finished the last assignment, which was due at 7 a.m. that morning. So, in short, 20 units. It's a lot, especially with organic chemistry. Who takes 20 units and then who takes it with organic chemistry? That is absolutely insane. But that is what I did, and it has been ridiculous. Only now have I started to get things under control, because turns out weekends are great for doing random homework, and so now it's getting to a more tolerable level. But let me tell you, organic chemistry semester 2 just as much, if not more, of a beast than semester 1. It's like, now you get to remember all of that stuff that you did in semester 1. You have to bring all of that knowledge back. Now you have to learn new stuff, and while you're learning this new stuff, not only do you have the regular lectures, which are, 3 times 50 minutes apiece, but you then go home, or, the equivalent, you log out of Zoom, and then the teacher's like, alright, now you need to go watch these videos, and those videos amount to about an hour, if you don't pause them. If you do pause them, which you're kind of required to do to actually do the problems and the various quizzes embedded in those videos, then those are going to take you a lot more, like 2 hours probably, for each set of videos, and she gives you a set of videos after each class, so that's fun. Organic chemistry also has the bonus of coming with a lab, and while labs are not in person currently, and they won't be until like September 29th, they are still long, and that means that every Wednesday I get to wake up bright and early at 8 a.m. and do a 3-hour lab. So much fun. It's only made better by the fact that my TA has a cat, and yes, that is the only thing I was not sarcastic about in that entire spiel. Organic chemistry is a monster, and as it turns out, I need to do even more stuff for organic chemistry. Hooray! I love life. So because I didn't do enough, I scored very badly on a quiz because I thought I knew stuff, and I didn't. And so now I get to do a ton of preceptor hours. Hooray for not having any free time. Life is good. I'm slightly delirious, it's all fine. Anyways, the only thing that helps to keep me alive in this whole 20-unit situation is the fact that I have Latin. Latin is an absolute lifesaver because it is technically 4 units. It acts a lot more like, 2 units at most, maybe like 1.5, because the amount of hours that are actually required outside of class for Latin are doable. And the classes are asynchronous, but the amount of work is doable. You see, they say that for each unit, there's supposed to be like 3 hours outside of class for a week. So for organic chemistry, in theory, with the lab, that's a 4-unit course, right? Because it's 3 units for the lecture, 1 for the lab. That means that you should be spending about 12 hours outside of class. Well, if you kind of add that up with what I was already doing, so that's 2 hours 3 times a week, so that's 6 hours for the lectures alone, and then you have the lab, and then, the lab is actually 3 hours, which that's automatically like 2 hours above what that limit should have been, so that's 8, and then plus all the practice problems and stuff, and yeah, I should have been doing preceptor hours, but you still see how many freaking units and how much time this takes. Latin, it's like, the assignments that they give for Latin in the asynchronous format probably take about 2 hours for like the class stuff, and then maybe like an hour or two throughout the week. So probably like 4 hours total for something that's supposed to be taking 12 hours of time. And that is what is saving my life, because that means that I do not really have over 1,000,000 units. I only have more like 20 when it all balances out, which is doable, not fun, but doable, at least for now. We'll see how it goes when all the preceptor hours get added in, but for now, it's doable. Now, I have 2 law classes this semester. I have procedure, and I have law and morality. Now, going off of those titles, you would probably think, procedure? That sounds like the most boring thing I've ever heard of. Like, why would you ever want to go to a class called procedure? Like, what could you even talk about? Well, my friends, it is all dependent on your professor, isn't it? Because procedure is taught by a phenomenal professor. He's a professor that really knows what he's doing, even in the Zoom format. He's really energetic. He makes jokes that are actually funny. He does all of these things that keep you nice and engaged. And every week you have a court case, and then you use that court case, and that's your example for the procedure. And let me tell you, this is so much better than what my previous law class did for this. My previous class was public policy and administration, and it was all theoretical. It was such garbage. I did not enjoy that class at all. But in procedure, it's actually, you get a case-by-case basis, literally, and you're actually debating, funnily enough, the morality of all these classes, and I can't speak, of all of these cases. You are debating the morality of the cases in the procedure class, which doesn't make any sense, right? That should be in the law and morality class. Well, you are also talking about that in the law and the morality class. The problem, though, comes where the procedure teacher is phenomenal. The law and morality teacher is in over his head. Just not good with Zoom, not good with that whole format, trying his hardest, but he's bad. And, you know, the other problem with him is he's kind of like me, where he's fine if he's giving a lecture, but he sucks at leading a discussion. And I suck at leading discussions too, because you know what I do in a discussion is I'll just kind of start thinking out loud, and then I'll start rambling, and then I'll start just going on this mental tangent, right? And the other people in the discussion don't care about my mental tangent, and I as a person understand that, so I try to keep it to a minimum. But this professor doesn't seem to be aware of how annoying these tangents are, because whenever someone says something, he always, and I mean always, goes on a tangent. And he'll just start talking about it, and it's like the student says something that does not need anything said about it. He'll be like, oh, what was the argument in Socrates' Credo? And the student will say, oh, it was this. And he'll say, ah, yes, it was kind of that, but also this, and what about this? And he'll just start going, and you just sit there and you're like, why am I here? And you as a student, you want to comment on the things that your peers say when they say more like opinionated things, but you can't, because your professor is off rambling his head off about whatever the heck someone just said, and that is less than ideal. That being said, he does put us in these breakout rooms, and when we get to actually have discussions with each other, it is a fantastic class. The other students in that class are extremely thoughtful about the material and pretty fun to talk to. I'm very much enjoying the discussion sections of that class. Everyone there seems awesome. Just wish the professor would learn to let us kind of have the discussion and to not always feel that it's necessary for him to comment on each and everything that we say. Moving on, we have pathogenic bacteriology, aka the class I was most concerned about, probably tied with organic chemistry, but as a new thing, I was most concerned about this one. I thought there is no way I am going to be good at this class. This is a 400s level class. It says right on the syllabus, it is recommended that you have taken microbiology. I looked at this, I was like, oh no. The syllabus, I keep reading it, it says there will be no flexibility. You will get the grade that you are assigned. There is no extra credit. There is no makeup work. It was one of the harshest syllabi I have ever read. And I read this and I'm like, oh no. There's no way this course is for me. Turns out this course is absolutely for me. This is a phenomenal course. I really love the material. At least so far. It has been so much fun just going through these things, and the professor's interesting because he comes off as this very serious individual. He comes off as a very yes, these are the facts and all of this. And then you start to look at his slides. And once you look at his slides, you see this bacteria in a tug of war with a man, and it's this poorly photoshopped image, and it's just amazing. It really is. And you keep going through the material, and you just keep finding things in this whole pathogenic bacteriology world that are just kind of accidentally hilarious. And sometimes it's things that the professor himself sets up as funny. Sometimes it's things that are accidentally funny. Turns out that you shouldn't, go to a patient directly after touching a cadaver without washing your hands. Who knew? And just, various funny things and various names that pop up, like, who knew that Jon Snow was actually an important figure and not just some random Game of Thrones character? And who knew that the Jenner family didn't just have to be made of plastic, but could have also been helping to further society? It doesn't make any sense, but it's actually true, and I love that. It's just also learning about all of these things that you didn't know where the names came from, and suddenly it's like, Listerine, the thing that disinfects, then sometimes it's in mouthwash. Well, there's a guy that's named after, and we're gonna learn about him. And it was like, I don't know, for some reason, that course has just turned out to be absolutely amazing so far. And then last and least, and the worst class I am taking this semester in every form of the word, and you might be like, but you're taking organic chemistry, and you just talked about how that was bad. And it's like, well, I did. But here's the thing. Organic chemistry is known to be bad. I went into that being like, yes, this is going to be horrible. So, in a lot of ways, I was prepared. But here's the thing. I had to take this, what's called a colloquium, which is essentially, it's an introduction to your major for molecular and cellular biology. But colloquiums are usually taken by freshmen. Because of the units I brought into the university, I was never a freshman. So, while there are 4 or 5 different types of colloquium for freshmen that range from, genetics, which is what I want to study, to other random things like here's some lab skills and such, there's only one for non-freshmen, which is what I am, unfortunately. And that one is called Life in the Universe. And here's the thing. I know that some people think space is cool, and some people really love looking up at the stars and thinking about how meaningless they are in comparison to the vast expanse of the universe. But I personally, and this is a personal opinion, you have your opinions, I have mine, I hate space. Absolutely loathe and despise space. It's not my thing. At all. I don't want to think about it at all. I saw a post the other day about oh yeah, on election day there's going to be a meteor that comes really close to the Earth. And I read that and I said, wow, I don't know if that's actually true, but even if it was, there's nothing I can do about it. So why am I worrying about some random space rock when there's so many more pressing things to worry about? And that's my number one problem with space. It's fine as a hobby. It's fine as something that you find fun or interesting, but I hate it as a class. And I hate that I'm required to take this, because this means that now I have to spend every week some time going and reading articles about space and the things about space and the things that could possibly live in space, and I do not care whatsoever. It's amazing what you can get me to do if I care even the tiniest bit. I care about OChem, right? So I am willing to go to preceptor hours and spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to get a decent grade in that class. Perfectly fine with that. I hate space. So trying to get me to even read a single article and write a really dumb summary about it, which is all this class is really asking us to do, is to read articles and then write a summary for them and then come into class kind of knowing the material of that. It's impossible. It's impossible. You cannot get me to care about space. And again, that's a personal thing, but it's just the facts. I don't care about space. And so for this class, the teacher made the summary due at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. And this was the night where I was up till 1, right, on Tuesday. And that was the last thing I was doing. So I looked at this 13-page article and I said, why? And I skimmed it. I wrote the worst summary I've written. I think middle school me has written better stuff than that summary. That summary was garbage. She gave me a 95 on it, and then I go to the discussion, and then I don't know anything about this article. She has these quizzes, right, in the discussion to be like, oh yeah, you should have known this from the article. It went over my head. I did not care. I did not care, and I did not know the information, and all the questions were like these very picky questions where it's like, oh yeah, like what are the 4 whatevers, and then 3 of them are right on each of them, and then you have to find the correct one. And no, I did not read well enough to know the answers, so I actually get all the questions wrong. All the questions that are not like fill in the blank I get wrong because they're trick multiple choice questions, and I end up get a 90% in the lecture, and it is at that moment that I realized that I don't care about space. And it turns out I don't need to care about space because this is an easy class, and as long as I put a bare minimum amount of effort in, I can get through this stupid class, and I will not have to take a colloquium at some other random point in time. So, moral of the story, moral of this whole rambling that I'm probably not going to cut because it's late, and I need this video to process for 8 hours, and I am sorry about that. The moral of the story is essentially, don't do what I'm doing. Just don't. If you're thinking about it, just don't. If you want to take 20 units at some point, you can. Please do not do it with organic chemistry. Please, for the sake of your sanity, do not do it with organic chemistry. And even if you do, just make sure you've got some class in there that's easier. You need classes in there that are easier, because if you actually have a 20 unit, every class is hard workload, you're not going to survive it. Unless you are Einstein, or like a 7-year-old genius, or something insane, you will not survive because it is too much work, it is too much time, and I'm pretty sure it's impossible. But anyways, I am currently surviving. I did spend some time with friends too this week, so for all of those people that are like, Rachel, you need to get out there and do some stuff other than studying, I am. It's hard when you have 20 units, but I am. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this rambling. I hope that you forgive me for being slightly insane at this moment, because I made this video right after a very distressing moment from OChem. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you all soar high and enjoy your ride of life. Bye!